Good evening, good afternoon, good day to all the beings, nature, humans, everywhere in the world. Welcome to the Mama Africa Show, the show for Africans in the diaspora, USA, Europe, Asia, Antarctica, wherever you are. And of course, friends of Africa, we bring you inspiring conversations talking about our strife, our thrive, our hustle and wahala in the diaspora. Yes. This show comes to you once a month, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. live on youtube.com, MamaAfricaAnna. And yes, our goal is to build, to reignite, to reinvigorate each other in the diaspora and beyond. My name is Anna Mwalago, aka Mama Africa, and I'm so happy, blessed to be on the mic with you today. And may I say, Happy New Year! Your dialectic phrases and use my accentual tongue to bless thee with words of wisdom. I am a victim of discrimination. No, not because I'm black. All right. And today we have a show that is as cool as palm wine, if I may say so, because I have my friend here with me, Duncan Chaplin, friend of Africa, friend of Kenya. Duncan, welcome to the show. I cannot wait to share and talk to you about the many things we have been involved in as far as, non-profit, and at the same time, your work here in America. And of course, why do you love Africa? I got questions for you, Duncan. But before we even go to Duncan, because I want to introduce him in a wonderful way, let's just go to news around the world. And the number one news, I think this is good news. All African passport holders are now able to visit Ghana without needing a visa. Let me repeat that. All African passport holders are now able to visit Ghana without needing a visa. According to the BBC World News, all African passport holders are now able to visit Ghana without needing a visa, outgoing President Nana Akufo-Addo has said. He announced the plan last month, but in his final State of the Nation address on Friday, he said that the policy had come into effect at the beginning of the year. Visa-free travel with the continent has long been an aspiration for those promoting Pan-African values and is seen as vital for economic cooperation. Yes, indeed. Ghana is now the fifth African country to offer this to travelers from the rest of continent. The other countries are Rwanda, Seychelles, which I would love to go, all of these countries, Gambia, the Gambia, and Benin are those four others, now including Ghana. And of course, he says here, I am proud to have approved visa-free travel to Ghana for all African passport holders with effect from the beginning of this year. Akufo-Addo told lawmakers in his last address to Parliament before he steps down next week after 8 years in office. This is the logical step to the African continental free trade and the workings of the largest trading bloc in the world, he said, referring to the zone that came into effect 4 years ago. Let me just say, this is great news. I have always wanted to go to Ghana. I think Ghana is one of the countries in Africa that upholds the African culture, that is proud of it, that showcases it, that if you want to know Mama Africa, I tell everyone, go to Ghana. What do you think about that, Duncan? Is then this great news?
Oh, it's fantastic. I've been blessed. I am actually doing a project now working on electricity in Ghana, and I got to visit, and I think it's a great opportunity. I sort of think of Ghana as the Kenya of West Africa, of course.
Oh, wow. I know you're going to say that because you do love Kenya. Well, let's go to our next news. A boy survives 5 days in a game park inhabited by lions and elephants. Well, again, BBC Africa says a young boy has been found alive after surviving 5 days in a game park inhabited by lions and elephants in northern Zimbabwe, according to a member of parliament. The ordeal began when Tino Tenda Pudu wandered at least 23 kilometers, approximately 14 miles from home, into the perilous Matusadona Game Park said Mashonaland West MP Mutsama Robidze on X. He spent 5 days sleeping on a rocky patch amidst roaring lions, passing elephants, and eating wild fruits. He said Matusadona Game Park has about 40 lions. Let me say that in an American accent. 40 lions. At one point, it had one of the highest lion population densities in Africa, according to African parks. The Zimbabwe Park and Wildlife Management Authority confirmed the incident to the BBC, but said the boy was 7 years old, not 8, as the MP had said, and had walked 30 miles, which is 49 kilometers from the home. Morobidzi said the boy used his knowledge of the wild and survival skills to stay alive. Tino Tenda survived his ordeal by eating wild fruit. He also dug small wells into dry riverbeds with a stick to access drinking water, a skill taught in the drought-prone area. Members of the local Nyami Nyami community started a such party and beat drums each day to try and guide him back home. But ultimately, it was park rangers who managed to find him. Isn't that amazing?
That is amazing. It reminds me of the fact that I've been told hippos are more dangerous than lions.
What?
And so he was lucky maybe that he wasn't, in a river or something. That might have been more dangerous. But I also wonder if, sometimes lions are a little nervous about humans. Some of us might try to hurt them. And so they might not always prioritize hunting us.
I tend to disagree with you. I think the fact that he had no fear. Children have no fear. They still live in that, I call it the mysterious angelic lifestyle. They have not grown up to now have so much fear about different things. So he might have just thought he was in the Lion King movie and
right.
and said, oh, well, let's do this. I think the fact that is a child, and children have this wonderful mindset, this wonderful imagination, this angelic soulfulness in them. I think that saved him because, they say animals sense fear, but he had the child was fear-free, I got to do what I got to do. And he was like, if my belly growls, I have to eat. If I'm thirsty, I have to drink. And there is a rock right here. I can sleep. Simple. No complications. And he was able to survive. So what does it say? With God and with a child's mind, we can go far. Well, let's go to the last news around the world. This one says U.S. top doctors calls for cancer warnings on alcohol. America's top doctor has called for risk warnings on alcohol beverages similar to the labels on cigarettes following new research that links the drinks to 7 types of cancer. The advisory from U.S. Surgeon General Vivek Murthy says the majority of Americans are unaware of this risk that leads to about 100,000 cases of cancer and 20,000 deaths annually in the U.S. It will require an act of Congress to change the existing warning labels, which have not been updated since 1988. Mr. Murthy has also called for reassessing recommended limits for alcohol consumption and boosting education efforts regarding alcohol drinks and cancer. The Surgeon General, who is the leading spokesman on matters of public health in the federal government, said that the alcohol was the 3rd most common preventable cause of cancer after tobacco and obesity. The direct link between alcohol consumption and cancer risk is well established for at least 7 types of cancer, regardless of the type of alcohol, e.g. beer, wine, and spirits. It doesn't matter that is consumed. Mr. Matthews said in a statement, this includes increased risk of cancer of the breast in women, throat, liver, esophagus, mouth, lungs, and colon. The new report recommends health care providers should encourage alcohol screening and treatment referrals as needed, and efforts to increase general awareness should be expanded. What do you think, Duncan?
Well, I think I'm very lucky because COVID sort of caused me to stop drinking. I usually drink with other people.
Yes.
And of course, when COVID happened, we couldn't really go out. So
Yes.
we just basically stopped. We still drink a little bit, but very,
Yes.
very little. So
Yeah,
I'm lucky.
me too. I drink a little bit wine here and there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, that's
And
good.
sometimes I've been like, so it's almost like saying drink at your own risk. That's basically
Yeah,
what it's saying.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
here it is, you are being told drinking, but if you are from Kenya and you enjoy your beer and your Tusker, hey,
Wow.
you got to pray to your gods to help you reduce the intake of that
Yeah,
beer.
yeah.
But even not only the beer, just like he said, wine, all this kind of stuff. So, it's not easy. Sometimes you feel like, I don't know who lied to us that, this alcohol gives us some relaxation. People will always say, I'm stressed, I got to drink. I don't. They
Mm.
are always looking for excuses to drink. You know what I mean? It's the
I
most.
think I will say when I was trying to learn Swahili,
Yes.
I thought having a beer or two really helped because then I didn't worry about making mistakes. I would just
I like that.
talk for fun.
Yes, because you blame it on the beer.
Yeah, well, or it just didn't matter.
It
was
didn't
like
matter, yeah.
unimportant.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know if people don't know, but they say that alcohol kills brain cells, And so I think I understand that. I used to not understand when they say, so I do, but I was like, okay, people are being told when you drink, don't drive, but they still drink and drive. But if you just sit and drink in your house, you already start feeling tipsy. You already start feeling sleepy. So imagine you have drunk and now you are behind the wheel. So it makes sense when they say, do not drink and drive. Drink in your house and don't drink at all so that you cannot, God willing, get this cancer. Anyway, we are going to go back to our show, of course. And Duncan, I am so happy to have you here today. I called you the friend of Africa and friend of Kenya. And I think I met you when you were doing a lot of fundraising through Foundation for Sustainable Development, and you were supporting organizations in Kenya, and you even supported my organization, Upendo Upendo Rehabilitation. That was my mom's, and then Upendo Educational Foundation, my foundation that I run right now. So I want to go fast because I want people to know who you are. We have a mathematician right here, and so let me read.
Statistics. I do a lot of statistics.
Yes. So let me read your bio a little bit, and then we are going to go straight to the questions, okay? Duncan Chaplin's work focuses on education, international development, and evaluation methods. Within education, he has worked on teacher evaluations, dropout rates, education technology, out-of-school time activities, at-risk youth, and child care. Chaplin's international development work has focused on estimating impact of improving access to grid electricity in Africa. Methodologically, he has used a variety of experimental and non-experimental evaluation methods and more. Recently, he is evaluating the efficacy of non-experimental methods by comparing their results with those from experiments. One of his current projects is providing guidance to regional education laboratories in the United States. Internationally, Chaplin recently completed an 8-year evaluation of the Millennium Challenge Corporation's energy sector program in Tanzania. Wow. And he started a 10-year evaluation of the same thing, I think, Millennium Challenge Corporation's energy sector program in Ghana in 2017. Before joining Mathematica in 2005, Chaplin held research position at the Urban Institute as an adjunct faculty member at the Georgetown Public Policy Institute. He taught several courses and served as an advisor to master's and doctoral students. Chaplin has served on National Committee on High School Graduation and Dropout Rates, the steering committee of the DC Children and Youth Investment Partnership, the board of Cesar Chavez Public Policy Charter High School, and the board for the Foundation for Sustainable Development, and the evaluation of advisory board of the BELL, or can I call it Bell Foundation? Yes. I'm going to go ahead and just wrap it up and say Chaplin presents regularly at conferences, including the American Education Finance Association, the American Educational Research Association, and the Association for Public Policy Analysis and Management. Chaplin received his PhD in labor economics with a focus on econometrics in 1993 from the University of Wisconsin at Madison. Welcome, Duncan.
Thank you. Sorry, I should have given you a shorter bio. I didn't realize you were going to read the whole thing.
I like to do that because I like people to know that, we bring guests here who are about their business, They're about their passion and they're about what they love to do and they want to share that with the world. And I can say you have done so much, but I want to start with, because I know, and many of you don't know, but because you are my friend, you told me that your first encounter with Africa was through what? You went through this organization Peace Corps. Yes.
Corps. Yeah.
And so tell us, when did you go with Peace Corps? What year was that?
So I arrived in Kenya in 1982, right after the elections or I think it was the attempted coup.
Yes.
There had been an attempted coup. So
yes,
it was an interesting time.
Yeah.
And I stayed until I think it was January of 1986. So
what? You were there for 4 years?
Well, more like 3 years.
More than that. So when you got there, did they say, because I know Peace Corps is known for taking people to rural Africa. They just don't take you to a town or a city or Nairobi. So what village did you land in?
I was staying in Kip's house, which is near Metke, Ainabkoi, if you know Ainabkoi.
No.
Yeah, and about halfway between Nakuru and Eldoret.
Oh, so
you are in the highland area. A lot of the famous runners, of course, come from that area. And for the first 6 months, every day I woke up and I said, I'm still in heaven. This is good.
Oh, wow. So you were with the Kalenjin people up there.
I was with the Kalenjin in the highlands. And it was beautiful.
And I'm sure you were tempted to start running with them because, you were tall and slender and they thought you could run. Can you run, Duncan?
No, I didn't know how little I could run until I got there, though. I used to think I could run. No.
And then you realize, no, the Kalenjins are something else. They can run faster than me.
The little kids can run faster than me.
Yes.
I didn't try to ever run with an older person.
Yes. But you were young when you got there. So what was the first thing that really you were mesmerized about? Like, what was your culture shock, if I may say?
Well, I mean, it was very beautiful. Everybody was really friendly. I guess, I can't think of it as sort of being shocked, but more just loving being there and experiencing it. I remember thinking it was interesting that I would meet people and they would remind me of somebody at home. And I would think it was interesting because even though their life circumstances are so different, there's still these connections you can make. And you can say, oh, that's like cousin so-and-so, or that's like my friend Eric or whatever.
Oh, yes. I like that because surely that's when you know the rest is a man-made creation, really. Because it's what you just said, it resonates with me too, because they could be white, they could be Arab, they could be Asian, but they have mannerism like your relatives. And you're like, this one just behaves just like my auntie, this one behaves like my cousin Jojo. And so that aspect of race has messed us up because we could even have more cohesion with one another as human beings because we are so alike than different. Yes. So what was the food that you enjoyed when you were in Kenya? What was your
Well, I must admit in the Kalenjin area that there was a little bit of ugali. So I really like the phrase, you go to a person's house, you have a big meal, you've really eaten for hours, but they haven't served you ugali yet. So the correct thing to say is, so where's the food? I mean, that wasn't food. That was just appetizer.
Yes. So you were served ugali last, or you were used to ugali?
I was used to a lot of ugali. I think, at least twice a day and maybe 3 times. Sometimes I would have leftovers from dinner for breakfast. So,
and did they serve it with the mursik? You remember what mursik is?
I love mursik. I actually was brought back sortet, and I was making mursik here in the U.S. for a little while. I did not convert very many Americans to mursik, I'm afraid. That is maybe an acquired taste.
Yes, but tell those who are listening what mursik is.
It's basically sour milk, but it's fermented in a very special way. So there's a gourd, and you treat it in a certain way with charcoal and certain plants, and you have to treat it a few times before you actually use the milk that's produced by it. But once it works well, that milk can stay for a long, long time. The sour milk, and I mean, I think some of it will last for months.
Yes,
it does get to taste almost fermented at some point, but it doesn't make you sick. It's just an interesting flavor. So I enjoyed that a lot. I really liked the homemade beer, and in particular, they would serve it with these big pots and straws, long, 3-foot straws.
And you share, all of you would sit around and drink from one pot.
Yeah. And then at the very top layer, there was something they called tegan, which was sort of a thicker, almost, I think of it almost like a sort of a port wine, but it's a very heavier, thicker drink. And so I enjoyed that a lot too. But I might get cancer sooner than I would have.
Oh, no, don't say that. No. Those days, I'm saying this, those days you were young and the body was flashing this stuff faster. I can say that. Yeah. No, but so I could say that was your culture shock. I mean, did you ever think that you would drink from one pot to 3 people? Have you ever? Oh, yes, that was your culture shock.
I'm afraid that I did not smoke a lot of marijuana in college, but I had a lot of friends who did. So sitting around, a pot and smoking together and sort of consuming together was a thing I had seen. It was not unheard of.
But not a drink. Come on, Duncan. We don't
not
drink.
A drink per se. That's true. Yeah, sharing drinks and food. That was something I was not ready for. I remember going to a wedding where there was a big bowl of meat in the middle and a big pot of ugali.
Yes.
And everybody was just digging their hands in.
Yes.
And that's when I was told, and the old people, they don't believe in washing their hands. So this is, you're just getting their straight hands.
But that's the beauty of African culture. And it's unfortunate, Duncan, that these days we don't do that even. We don't share. We have become so modernized, so, European, whatever. Everybody has their own plate. Everybody's eating their own. But that brought the family together. It didn't matter whether your nails were dark or clean or dirty. You had to do one thing before anyway. You had to wash your hands. Once you wash your hands, you dig in. We miss that. I miss that because that brought the community together. Everything nowadays is individualized, if I may say. Yes, somebody here is saying, somebody is talking, and I'm going back to the the comments here on YouTube Live. Now imagine if you went to a Luya house. That is somebody here. One Mike says, Duncan, I know you've been to all these kind of houses because you lived with a family, right?
I must admit, it was mostly Kalenjins. I knew some Kikuyus a little bit, but I guess I did know a Luya teacher. I take it back. Yeah, there was a Luya teacher at the school, but I didn't know a lot of Luyas. And of course, And in terms of living with family that is not your own, how was that experience? I didn't live with a family for very long. So Peace Corps, at the beginning, there was just a few days with that. But most of the time I was living on the school campus where I was teaching. But, with other teachers nearby. So it was certainly with a lot of other people nearby.
Yes. And so with that experience for Peace Corps, how did it shape you, coming back? After 3-something years and you're home now in America, what were the thoughts? What was going through your head? I mean, because you came back a different person, most definitely.
Yeah, no, it was interesting. I mean, I definitely felt like I wanted to maintain a connection with Kenya, and obviously I have over the years.
Yes.
But at the same time, I sort of felt like, there's a lot of good Kenyan researchers and stuff. So I don't necessarily need to do work in Kenya. I can do work in the U.S. trying to figure out, our education system. And then if we learn useful things here, that could be applied to Kenya and other countries, of course.
Yeah.
But then more recently, there was a project about 10 years ago or more now, where they needed somebody who could speak some Swahili. I don't speak a lot of Swahili, but I speak enough. And so they got me on that energy project. And that's how I ended up doing energy research in Africa.
Wow. So your experience even got you a job, man. See, Yeah, that's the thing. I like to tell people that you have to have an open mind. If you don't have an open mind, you will lose a lot of opportunities. And it comes with everything else, Don't say I don't date people outside my race. Don't say I don't visit South. Don't say I can't leave Africa. I can't leave the United States. You never know what's out there for you. Duncan, if I may just spoil it for everybody, you got more than just your job. You got an African wife. Huh?
Yeah, but she's not Kenyan. I don't know what happened.
Well, let me tell you something.
She is lovely.
Kenga is from Angola and she is African. That's what matters. That's it. Sometimes it doesn't matter whether they are from Kenya or from Zimbabwe. Yeah. We are all sisters and brothers. You know what I mean? Yeah, so pass my love. So I definitely wanted, is Peace Corps still in operation or there's no more?
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure they're still in Kenya as well. I think they did pull out for a little while, maybe because of COVID or there were some political issues, but I'm pretty sure they're back now.
Oh, good.
And they're in many other countries as well.
Oh, yeah, because I think it's such a wonderful organization, such a nice project, and it just makes people, it helps those who go there, be it from any country or Africans coming, but it's mostly Americans going to Africa. Africans don't come to America through Peace Corps, no?
That's right. Yeah, it is definitely just for Americans serving abroad.
Yes.
I don't know the names of, the Fulbright program might have some African students coming to the U.S., I think.
Yes.
But I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, they are Fulbright. Yes, most definitely. And I don't know if they stay with the host families. I'm not so sure. But it's amazing that you talk about all these things. People are enjoying it, Duncan. Somebody said here live that looks like his experience was fun and great with all the stories he has. Somebody says this is awesome. So Duncan, let's go back to now your work. You are, I make fun of you as you are a mathematician, but you are mathematician, but in statistics, right?
Yeah, I'd say statistics. Well, I studied a lot of statistics in graduate school. I got a degree in economics, but within economics, I was studying statistics.
And that is actually one thing that has led you to go to different places because of that. Like what you're doing in Ghana, what you did in Tanzania is more about electricity, but in the form of statistics aspect of the function of electricity. Or just tell us a little bit more, because I might say my own things.
Yeah, no, definitely one of the benefits of having me on a project is I can apply my statistics knowledge to a lot of different areas.
Yes.
And so trying to figure out what works. So, in the US, I might be interested in figuring out if a summer learning program helps kids improve their behaviors or their test scores. And in Africa, I will look and say, well, if you expand access to electricity, does that help households get access to TVs and radios, but also to better job opportunities or to more productive ways of getting work done around the house.
And let's talk about that, because I grew up in, of course, I was born in Nairobi, grew up in Nairobi and Mombasa, but I visited my grandmother in Taita. I am originally a Taita lady. And so those days when I was a kid and I would stay with my grandmother or we would visit them, we didn't have electricity, So we used to do those things. I don't know if I'm saying it in Taita or in Swahili. My mother is online. She can tell me. Koroboi. We hit them korobois, yeah? And, and sometimes you use torches, and you could be out there. And then those days were the days whereby the toilet was outside, wasn't inside. So when it comes to nighttime, you are scared of even going outside. And there are all kinds of stories about witches and I don't know what kind of stuff. But when electricity came, for me, I was already here in the US, and so going back home and going to the village, I was like mesmerized, I was happy because I could really juxtapose before and after, and you live in a hut, or if it doesn't be a house that's made out of mud, but you have electricity. That's something, If it's not in your house, but you have an electricity street light right there. Unlike before, where children had an issue of studying because there was no form of electricity. So there is aspect of electricity in the village has really improved life. I would say, from, as they say, eliminating the educational gap between the people living in the rural and those in the city, because now they can study, now they can read at night. And then, of course, reducing other issues of, if it's crime, or if it's, reducing lack of efficiency in, getting water. You have to walk so much to go get water. So with that, what have you seen as being effective in terms of electricity in the rural areas? And do we need to do more? Or right now, in many African rural areas, we can say, yeah, we're good. We everyone is good. Everyone has electricity. Or do you think more needs to be done?
That is a very, very good question. So I'll just sort of give you some big picture issues here.
Yes.
One of the interesting differences between Africa and the United States is that Africa is much more spread out. It's a huge continent,
yes,
as you know. And so people don't live very close to each other in rural areas. And what that means is, in order to electrify a rural household, you have to build a very long electric line.
Yes.
And that's expensive.
Yes.
And so I think one of the more difficult trade-offs for Africa that is less true in Europe and the US is that if you try to electrify rural areas, it's going to be more expensive per person. And so the alternative, of course, is to get people to move to towns and cities, and then it's cheaper to provide those services. So I think while electricity definitely has all these huge benefits for households, I think governments have very difficult decisions to make. And when they're thinking about, do we spend, $10 million and help 500 people out in the middle of nowhere, or do we spend that same amount of money and help 5,000 people in the city? And that's a difficult decision. I think.
I also just wanted to let people know you are watching or you're listening to MamaAfricaAnna on YouTube Live. Make sure you subscribe to MamaAfricaAnna on YouTube. Also, you can find us on my social media handles in Instagram as MamaAfricaAnna, TikTok, MamaAfricaAnna. Which other one is there? I don't know. Facebook, MamaAfricaAnna, and on LinkedIn as Anna Lago. And please do not forget to tell a friend. One thing I wanted to share with you, I have what you say about rural to urban migration. And I also think at this point in many African countries, they're trying to avoid that because of lack of employment, So it feels like even now they're going more onto solar. Like solar energy is now being, something that is talked about in the rural areas. But still, I feel like the governments, especially Kenya and many other countries in Africa, have done a good job to make sure electricity is in the rural areas. So I hope they're not going to be saying that it's too expensive, because it curbs, rural to urban migration.
Yeah, no, I think that's an excellent point. And definitely, if the goal is to slow down the rural to urban migration, then providing electricity in the rural areas can help that.
Yes.
But, there's, I think countries are definitely concerned about other things. They want to improve education outcomes. They want to improve health. And so there's trade-offs. They have to decide, which things are we going to try to do. And I think a lot of the services, like health as well, trying to provide a doctor out in every little rural village is very expensive.
Yes.
So again, if people are living a little closer together, that I know Tanzania experimented with that many, many decades ago. Ujamaa, I don't know if you heard about that, but they tried to force people into villages. It did not go well. So I'm certainly not advocating that, but I think it was inspired by this concern about, well, how are we going to provide services to everybody?
Yeah, I think Ujamaa, to be honest, had its positive and its negative, and I think the aspect of the negative aspect of it is because capitalism reared its ugly head, and Ujamaa became not as strong as it should be, because really Ujamaa is very important as a foundation for culture, for African culture. So I think, you can, we are here, all of us here in the world, trying to fight capitalism because it actually divides and rule. And that's the sad aspect of it. And talking about that, let's go to education, because here in the US, there is issue of education that you are also part of in your statistics at your job. So right now, You talk about I read some. Of course, your bio talked about you looked at dropout rates. What else did you look at when you were doing your work in terms of education in the United States of America?
I've looked at a lot of different topics. One of them was summer learning, trying to think about, during the summer, often kids, especially lower income kids, will lose ground relative to other students because they aren't being exposed to, parents who can speak, using a large vocabulary as much, or maybe have as much access to math training. And so there's programs that are really focusing on the summer period to try and help kids during that time. And we found some evidence that can be helpful. So that's one topic I've looked at. I've spent a lot of time trying to, think about the differences between different teachers. And, a lot of us can sort of look back and think, my gosh, I had some teachers that were so amazing and other ones, maybe not.
Yes.
And so helping schools trying to figure out which of the teachers they really want to make sure to keep and which ones, they don't have to work as hard to keep.
Yes.
That's something we try to do.
What makes a good teacher, and how, to make sure that they have more of those teachers in there. And then even to go into education now, I call it a threat when we talk about Project 2025, which, Trump is about to take office very soon. And though he said he doesn't know so much about 2025, Project 2025, his people, his allies, the people that surround him, is it called the Heritage Foundation, are the ones that are pushing for Project 2025. So a little bit just about the comprehensive policy agenda developed by the Heritage Foundation, that is the Project 2025. Their outline or their propositions or what they have proposed in terms of education is mind-boggling. And I'm just going to read a few of the things that they want to do. Number one, they want to eliminate the U.S. Department of Education. The plan advocates for dismantling the Federal Department of Education, transferring responsibility to states and local entities. That is one. Second, promoting school choice and parental rights. Its emphasis expanding school choice initiatives, allowing public funds to be used for private and religious schooling, enhancing parental control over educational decisions. This money that will have gone to the public education will now be less if this goes through. This is just one of the few things. Of course, there is reducing federal oversight. They do not want the government to be the one, supervising education in terms of public schools, and they says here the proposal seeks to limit federal involvement in education, suggesting that the government's role should primarily involve data collection and statistics, where Duncan comes in, with civil rights enforcement responsibility shifted to the Department of Justice. Wow. And then they want to alter funding structures. It includes plans to let 18 billion of Title I fund for low-income students expire, advocating for states to assume their responsibilities. Additionally, it proposes cuts to funding for free school meals and the elimination of Head Start program, which provides services to children from low-income families. And then, of course, restructuring special education. The plan suggests transferring programs under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA, to the Department of Health, and addressing curriculum content. Project 2025 is all about banning school books, aims to remove what it describes as work propaganda. They want to take it out from public schools, and advocating for a focus on traditional academic subjects and the exclusion of certain topics related to race and gender. Wow. You as a statistician, what do you think about all this?
Well, I don't know that I'd have a strong opinion as a statistician, but as a human being, I have lots of thoughts.
Yes, yes.
So, I think one key factor that's important to keep in mind is that we do still have a democracy. It's scary and it feels like we could lose it, but we haven't lost it yet.
No.
And so Trump won, but he did not win more than 60% of the House and Senate.
Yes.
And he would need more than 60% to really do a lot of these things. So historically, many Republicans have talked about getting rid of the Department of Education, but it hasn't happened because they've never had enough control. And in fact, I would even argue they probably don't have anything close to unanimity within the Republican Party on that particular topic. So they would, they probably get a pretty small vote for that. But a lot of the other things, getting rid of Title I and Head Start, these are big government programs that are pretty well embedded within our legal system. And so they would, again, need that 60 votes, that 60% of the votes to get rid of them. And that's just not going to happen. They don't have it. They don't have it legally. Unfortunately, there are things he can do. So a lot of the civil rights protections, protections for transgender rights, I'm not sure about the book banning piece, but some of those things he will be able to influence and in a negative direction. So I do think there's cause for concern. And I think one piece of good news is if you want to make a book popular, one of the best things you can do is to ban it. Because then, of course, everybody's going to want to know, well, what is it you're banning? This sounds interesting.
What's in the book?
I anticipate that when he produces that list of banned books, you're going to see the sales skyrocket. Everybody will be like, well, put me on the list too. Didn't I do something to offend you? I'm looking forward to a very active engagement of people pushing back against Trump. I certainly plan to be there for the Women's March in early January.
Oh, when is the Women's March? When is it? Because I want to be there too.
I'm forgetting the exact date. I think it's on the January 18th.
Right after his inauguration. I think I'm going
to go. Just before.
I'm going to go for that march. Yes.
Excellent. Yeah, so there's a lot of people that disagree with Trump, and I think we will continue to make ourselves heard and in education and in other fields. So he's not going to be able to do what he wants.
I think that's good news when you say that, because they don't have that 60%. I pray and hope that some of these things or all of these things will not be passed. But when you say that when it comes to the LGBTQ, that can be passed, why? And why not? Why that? I mean, is it that he doesn't need the 60%?
So a lot of the stuff protecting LGBTQ right now was done through the presidential orders. So there was no vote. It was just the president deciding. So the president can give, the president can take away. So Biden, enacted these things and Trump can take them away.
And that, I think that's what now it's important for people to understand, that you want these things not to just be executive orders, but you want them to be enshrined in the Constitution. Is that correct? Yeah. That they should be a vote. Yeah. They should. Yes. Wow.
Yeah, you want to have laws written by Congress
exactly.
and passed by Congress.
Yes. Absolutely. Well, that's something we need to do, even though that's the only way we can save ourselves. That is the only way we can save ourselves. So, it's going to be crazy. I think it's going to be a lot of things happening, but I want to say that people like you can help those who are really ready to listen, to see the statistics and realize that, this will affect adversely, especially poor people, people who are living in rural areas, even here in America, people who rely on, Head Start so that their kids can go to, if it's pre-K or kindergarten, so that they can go to work, or people who don't have food. Even in America here, we have hunger. And schools, when they give those free meals, they support those families who cannot afford to put food on the table, at least 3 meals per day. So I hope that statistics will help them realize they need to start making sense of all this, other than just enacting things out of their own, face or whatever.
I do think the rural areas is a very important point, because obviously, as you probably know, a lot of his supporters come from rural areas. And they probably don't fully appreciate how much the federal government is doing for them. But I think if he does start taking some of those things away, they will notice, and he will no longer have their support.
I hope they will notice, and the names will be called out, because sometimes I hear some people were like, oh, There are some people, somebody saying the rural area, somebody was like, yeah, I really like my Affordable Care Act, but I don't like Obamacare. And I like, this is the same thing. So even in rural America, we need to do some civil education. But I mean, I have some people here who are saying, wonderful show, awesome, Anna from Margaret Kamba. Ogam had to remind us that those lights, those koroboys were lanterns. I want us to please keep on definitely sending your messages. Keep on, writing something. If something you want to ask Duncan a questions, we are here for it. So please put your comments there. Those who are listening, we would love to hear from you. And Duncan, before I let you go, I definitely want to talk about parenthood. I really think that parenthood in the new era is different from when we were growing up. You and I, we have young children, And I wanted to ask you this question because I really think it's impactful to ask, how has parenthood changed you in terms of your life as a human being, as Duncan? Before you had a child, now you have a child. In terms of many things, I would say one of the things I look into it is that with parenthood, I've had to, not only not second guess myself, but always ask myself, did I do that? Meaning, did I influence that on my child, negative or positive? So it asks you have to ask yourself a lot of questions, but also you have to realize some of the things you gotta be also learn to be more patient. So for you, what are the lessons that you have learned about life, self from being a parent?
Interesting. I mean, this is not a lesson really, but the first thing I've learned is I've got to spend a lot of time organizing social events, because when I was a child, my mother would just leave the front door unlocked and tell me to be back in a few hours. And that was it. She didn't have to do anything else. There was a whole street full of kids, and I would go out every day. And the world has changed. Oh my goodness, you just can't do that anymore.
You can't do that.
I have to be organizing every single one of her social events, and it's a lot of work.
Yes.
So
and what do you think has changed the world? Do you think is the fact that there's so much, evil out there in terms of, think about what can happen to your child? Or is it because also people are not, giving birth as much, so there's no children even around your neighborhood? Sometimes you might find that. Or if not that, technology. What are those things that have made things different from when we were growing up?
Well, I'm not sure. I do think, a fear of strangers is increased. I think the crime rate was always there. In fact, the crime rates have perhaps even fallen a little bit, but the fear of crime and the feeling like, well, if I just keep my kid at home, I'll be protected from that is one factor. And I get that. I mean, I definitely do not want my child to be hurt. So
yes,
we often use a air tag. You know what air tags are?
No.
It's a really cute little thing from like $20 on Amazon, and you just hang it on a necklace or something, and you can see where your kid is at all times.
Really?
So if your child was to leave school and go off into the jungle or wherever, you can track them. I mean, it only works if they are near somebody else's iPhone at some point. At least, it's pretty helpful. So
wow.
I love, in the middle of the day, I'll just look up and go, oh, okay, there she is at school. That's lovely.
That's interesting. But don't you see that you have created fear to yourself? That's what I'm saying. Is the fear justifiable? That now you become what they call a helicopter parent. You're over there zooming.
My daughter has escaped from school a few times, and that's upset the teachers. So I'm not sure if I'm completely irrational.
No, you're not. You're not. But that has to do with the teachers too. Why would they let the child escape from school? Yeah, you understand? And so that
she's a clever kid. She's done it to us too. So she's watching very carefully, and when she sees she's not watching, she's gone.
Oh my goodness. Wow. I mean, the thing for me is when it comes to now kids, and I ask myself, man, I see positive things in my son. And all of us, when your child is doing well. You have a lovely son, by the way. Oh, thank you. When your child is doing well, you're like, man, wow, you know how parents are. That's my son, that's my. But when he's messing up, Mother starts saying, that's your son. Father says, that's your son. But at the end of it all, for me, I ask myself, is it me? Did I do anything? I find myself questioning myself so many times. And so I am in this place whereby I just don't know. I'm thinking, okay, I need to change this. Maybe I'm loud in the house. Anna, stop being loud. But you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I'm like 40-something now. If I'm always a loud mouth, I'm always going to be one. But you see...
Your loudness is wonderful. So I think your child will have your spirit. And I think that's a great thing. So don't quiet down.
Man, and because my son is me in so many ways. So it's crazy, but at the same time, I really feel like our children come to show us who we are. Yes, that's an African proverb right there. So the people say, they say God is what? God has a sense of humor because he gives us kids who are just like us.
Yeah.
And so that's what they say. But Duncan, I have enjoyed this time because guess what? It's like 9 minutes left to the show being done. So we're going to come back because I want us to finish with mother tongue. Duncan, you do have some mother tongue because you lived in Kenya, and I want the viewers to know that Duncan knows some Swahili. So here we go. We are going to play this song. Is it Asante that we are playing from my album? And the album is Upendo. And enjoy the song, and we'll come back with the mother tongue section. All right. We are back, and Duncan, to wrap up the show. My friends, everyone who are listening, please know you are listening to Mama Africa Anna on YouTube Live. Know that this show comes to you once a month, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Know that you can listen to it even after it's over because it's still going to be on YouTube. And please subscribe to my YouTube page because we need more subscribers so that we can pay the producer. I still need to get to 40,000 hours before YouTube starts paying me. So please, and also please subscribe to other of my social media handles. That being what? What are the handles that I do have? Because I have many. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, all that. And I just want to, Duncan, tell me the mother tongue. Please go, Duncan.
Think about what phrases I liked, and I do like the Ponda Mali Kwanikufa Kunakuja.
Say it again for all my Swahili listeners to hear what Duncan, this is Duncan's proverb that resonated with him when he was in Kenya. Say it again.
Ponda Mali Kwanikufa Kunakuja.
You're making the producer laughing here. I don't even want to say it again because I just love your accent with that Swahili. Last time, please say it loud and proud.
Ponda Mali Kwanikufa Kunakuja.
And what does that mean?
Well, literally destroy property because death is coming, but I think there's probably a better way to say it. Enjoy life.
Ponda Mali means, enjoy life. Mali is wealth. Mali is money. Money is, all that good stuff you have. So just, not destroy it, but have fun with it. Use it. Don't even think about it because death is coming. And so that means you only live once, so life is too short. You can say that you only live once, or so therefore, go out there and spread it out and enjoy your money, eat it all. But I don't think that's a very good proverb. What do you think, Duncan?
Oh, I like that one, but I have another one that's not a proverb, but it's just it's a phrase that I thought was interesting, and it reminded me of the French government spends a lot of money trying to maintain the French language. And Tanzania got inspired in the same way. So Tanzania wants to make sure that Swahili speakers have access to Swahili words for everything under the sun. They should never have to leave the Swahili language.
Yes.
And so this is a phrase, utafiti kuhusu upataji ya mahitaji ya binadamu.
Utafiti kuhusu
upataji ya mahitaji ya binadamu.
So basically, utafiti is research. So they want to do research for the upataji and
mahitaji ya binadamu,
for availability and needs of the human being, or for the people. I mean, honestly, I agree with them. Go ahead.
That's the phrase, that's the word you use instead of economics. So instead of just that short word economics, the Swahili speaker is supposed to say utafiti kuhusu upataji ya mahitaji ya binadamu.
And are you using that in the is that part of the project for the electricity in Millennium?
I'm pretty sure I've never used that in a work context. I just learned it once because I thought it was so funny that it was, this long phrase. It was, people who love a language will go to great lengths to try and protect it from influence of other languages.
I like that. One thing I want to say about language, me being a professor of Swahili, is that I appreciate the fact that now in the Swahili, the people or the professors or all those we know who are there to support and make sure that our language, meaning Kiswahili, becomes the paramount language in Africa, are doing in terms of changing even those borrowed English words to Swahili words. I can tell you, yes, and not giving them an English name, but giving them a Swahili name. So therefore, language is dynamic. Language is growing. It's not just, what's there. Just like in English, vocabularies grow, different ones come up every time. So I appreciate that. That's a good thing.
Yeah. But English takes words from other languages. So we actually have many Swahili words that are now considered English. Bwana, Daktari, I forget the other ones right now. But at least those two. Yeah.
Yes.
So they're
So I have a lot of I have a lot of what you call them, comments. Let me just read some of them here. Nikki says, Nikki Iziana says, good conversation, Anna, very educational. Julie says, great conversation and good information. Brandon Green says, enjoying this interview with Duncan, thoughtful perspective. And Esther Tuju says, children come to show us who we are, and that is true. And Veridiana Matano says, the hardest msemo, the hardest msemo. They like your one Ponda Mali.
Nothing.
Everybody like that one. Somebody even translated into what we call this not pigeon. I don't like to use that, but they say chop life. That's all, chop life. That was, we can say that's what it means, okay? And then one says, you can't take it with you. Exactly. So, you cannot eat it all. Come on now. And of course, we still provide, we shall, James M says, we shall ponder money. And that is good. And of course, Pastor Cassian, all the way from Taita Hills. I am right there. Ponda mali kwani kula. Kufa kuna kuja. Amazed. Duncan, you have made the viewers happy today. The listeners, you have made them so excited. And I can just say, even though you want to ponder mali, meaning this, we should use, you know what? Webster should use this now. Ponder mali. They should say ponder mali means, put it in their dictionary and just say root Afri Swahili, because Ponda Mali is a good one. Ponda Mali means chop life, finish it all. But as you eat it all, please save it for a rainy day, because rainy days are also coming. Duncan, this has been amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. This has been absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
Always enjoy speaking with you.
Always enjoy speaking with you. I'm always so thankful for how you supported my mom's foundation when we were raising money for it. And then also now that I started my own, I want to really thank you for all you have done for me as a person. Our friendship has grown from when we were single to now when we are parents.
And in a couple of years.
Yes, not couple, Duncan. We are talking about 2 decades. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It
And
is.
so I
That's
just,
right.
yeah, I just want to thank you for that. And how can people know more about what you're doing? If you have any, even, you've written a lot, as I said earlier in the bio, information that they can read about that, it's important. Where can they find it?
Well, the research that I've done, most of it is available on the Mathematica website. So that's Mathematica Policy Research. And if you Google it, it'll pop up, or you can throw my name in.
Can you say the website in full?
Mathematica. Yeah, I think I just go Chaplin and then Mathematica, and that'll get you.
So Chaplin.mathematica.com?
No, just if you go to Google, just type the word Chaplin space Mathematica, and it'll automatically find the webpage for you.
For
You don't need
those, Duncan's name is right there, Chaplin, space Mathematica. Google that, and all the good stuff will come out so that you can read more about what he's doing in Ghana, Tanzania, what he's done in Kenya in terms of statistics and electricity, and also what he's doing here in the United States with education and many other stuff. So, Duncan, I want to thank you for being our guest today. And most definitely, we are coming back with the music section. We have a few songs of our independent artists here in America that we want to showcase. And so I want to say Happy New Year again. Please don't go anywhere because we are coming back with some music videos. I also have some merchandise. Mama Africa is always hustling. I want to share with you today. But apart from that, Duncan, we are going to say Asante Sana.
Asante Sana.
Karibu. And how do we say goodbye? Kwaheri. Yes, I know. You should have been telling me this because I know you know some Swahili. You already said it. I like that. Why didn't we do this in Swahili? Because you know some Swahili. Unaweza omba, but it is not pambe, it is pombe. Hey.
Pole.
Yeah, you even said pole. Haya. Kwaheri, Duncan. Asante. We'll be back, and before we come back, we are definitely going to switch to our music videos. And as we switch to our music videos, I want to share this song, and this is because I just want to celebrate children. I am sending this song to the boy from Zimbabwe who survived 5 days in the wilderness, and this is for him. Let me say his name right. Today I just want to, and to all the children out there, all the boys, all the girls, including my son Olufemi Wade Mwalago Green, and what is the other, and Duncan's daughter India Rose, and all the children out there. I know so many. I know, who else do I know out there? I know many children. Kira, Cassidy, who else do I know? I know a lot of these kids out here. And I want to send this song to you all. So this my children. And of course, what is my other child name? That Zawadi. I know a lot of Zawadis. And Logan, This is for you. Elo. wow, that is Elo Elo. And Elo Elo was inspired by when my son was born, but also, telling people that we are all not the only humans. We think about ourselves and say, oh, humans are the only ones. If we had no animals, man, we will not be here. Everything, the ecosystem of the universe, God knows what he was doing when he put animals, humans, and all of us together. And look at it. This boy, Teno Tenda, the boy from Zimbabwe, 7-year-old, living with animals for 5 days. And even there are more stories of living in animals for more than even 5 days. See, we can all coexist. So that one was Elo Elo. It was from my second or third CD, Haki. But yes, I want to share with you a few of now that being this is a new year, why not, shine a spotlight on myself and take the time to sell my products. I have been very quiet about these products, but I want to share them with you. And I do have wonderful bags. If you can see, this one is from my company, and it says Afro Swag all day, every day. This is what do you call these bags? I forget the name. Our tote bag. Yes, you can get this on my website, MamaAfricaShop.com. MamaAfricaShop.com. Ukienda huko tu utanunua huko, and then I will send it to you. I have to speak in Swahili, saying if you go to my website MamaAfricaShop.com, you will find this wonderful bag there. And of course, yes, and then of course I do have greeting cards, and my greeting cards, I have one for dads, and this one is for super dad, when you want to buy your dad a birthday card, or Father's Day for children. And then yes, I love Swahili, and some people will say, Anna, what kind of cards are this? But because I love animals, I had to make a card with giraffes. This one is in Swahili. I have one also in English, and it even has a poem in there. Let me read the poem for you. This one says, nakupenda sio siri, penzi letu ni la kale, si la hapa na pale, kwani tumetoka mbali, sio penzi la mtandao na wifi, hapana, french fries na pizza, hapana, penzi letu ni la ugali na sukuma wiki, redio na sinema za nje, la milima na mabonde, na bado tumeshikamana kama pwagu na pwaguzi, basi raha tujipe wenyewe, sisi hao hadi forever. Get this one in Swahili. Let's go. Mama Africa Shop. Oh, get this one in English. I had to translate that. The translation does not do it right, but let's say it in English. Our love is fire. Nothing can storm this love train. The feeling within me, the joy that you bring me, the way we move and groove in this rhythm called life. We dance to our own beats. We sail in our own ship. We sink, we gel. Ours is smooth, kinda love. No pulls, no pushes, no force, no bruises. Just easy, like Sunday morning, because love should be easy. Get the card, and if you don't like the front, you like the poem. Mama Africa Shop. What else do I have? I do have these postcards, and the postcard is Asante. Thank you very much. Get the postcard. You can get all this on MamaAfricaAnna, or just on my website annamualago.com. And percentage of my merchandise goes to support my non-profit Upendo Educational Foundation, which helps students in mainly Kenya and Taita, in Nairobi, go to school, pay their school fees. It's not much, but it does help. And finally, we have my book here, Mimi ni Maua, my Swahili book for beginners, children, and adults. It's in Swahili, but the glossary has all the words translated. Therefore, I just want to say, please support MamaAfricaShop.com or annamualago.com, and just go to store and you'll see all the stuff. Yes, before we close the show, I want to go back to my sister Tolu. We have to enjoy her song, Mama Sunshine. So, Throwback. Oh yes, I've been told it is not Mama Sunshine. This one is Throwback by Tulumide. Enjoy. Oh, that is my sister Tulumide. She is from Nigeria. She lives here in the United States. She's actually lives in Maryland. She's not only a friend. When I say she's a sister, she's a sister. This lady is a graphic designer. She works at the Voice of America, but at the same time, she is a musician. She is a singer. She has her band. She has done so many music. Her and her family used to have that we call the festival, which was called Niger Fest in Silver Spring, if you remember those who live in the area. So she's been to the show. This is her music. I just want to bring a sister up, support each other, because we have to do that. We always listen to all these, big celebrities. What about our own? Because I say this, we might not be known worldwide, but guess what? We make you move, we make you groove, and that's all that matters. So Tolumide with throwback is something that I really, really appreciate from her, because she's telling us, let's go back to when we used to do things. And me and Duncan have been talking about that. We used to play till, the sun comes down, but now you have to, people have to not allow their kids to do that, because it's the life has just changed. And then these kids now are on Nintendos and all this stuff. We got to bring kids back, take them to museums, take them to places, show them the real world of playing outside. And this is my next one. We are going to finish with this song. We'll come back to conclude the song, but I just want to share this Asante. Asante in Swahili means thank you. We thank God for life. We made it through 2025. When I was in 1990 living, I never thought 2025 will find me. Because you think 2025, we are still have not hit the millennium. But now forget 2000, we are in 2025, I beg. We are also going to be in 2050. We are going to be in 2070. We are going to be, let me see how many, 2025, let's just count it. Plus 25, plus 25. Hey, we have life for. So enjoy this song, Asante. Thanking God for life. And I have new music coming. I want to share that with you. I have 2 songs coming that are going to just make you wow. When I get the videos up ready, I will put them up. One is called Don't Give Up. The other one is called Power. But for now, Asante. We did this in Zanzibar.
Tunasema wewe ni Mungu Baba, twatoa shukurani kwa uhai wetu. Ndio maana tunasema wewe ni Baba yetu. Twasema asante kwa mema yote, ewe Baba. Umetufariji na upendo wako, ewe Baba. Twasema asante, asante. Twasema asante, Mungu Baba, asante. Twaimba asante, asante. Twaimba asante, imba asante. Twaruka asante, asante. Twaruka asante, ruka asante. Twatoa shukurani kwa watoto wetu, ndio maana tunasema wewe ni mama yetu. Twatoa shukurani kwa maisha yetu, ndio maana tunasema wewe Muumba yote. Twasema asante kwa mema yote, ewe Baba. Umetufariji na mema yote, ewe Baba. Twasema asante, asante.
Wanasema Mungu sio Athumani. Ni kweli? Mungu si mwanamume. Just want to say yes, we are enjoying ourselves here in the studio, and I just want to share some of the comments coming through. Somebody said, this is really well done, Anna. This is Ogam, my brother. And then my mother there, I don't want to say my mother's name. Hey, she's watching. She's saying, great conversation. Wilfred Kandia said, thank you, Dr. Mlangros. Wilfred, you should know my name by now. I think that was a typo. Wilfred said, Anna Mwalago. And Wilfred Kandia said, I love the song. Pastor Cassian, all the way from Wanda Kishamba, all the way. You have not slept yet, Pastor. Eh? He said, awesome conversation. I will be wrong to say you make me feel proud. Coincidentally, my granddaughter is called Zawadi. Shalom. And of course, we have Wilfred Kandia said, Duncan Chaplin is actually called Arab Congo. Is his other name is the name for Duncan Chaplin, Arab Congo. And Duncan didn't tell us that. We'll make sure he tells us. That's our Kalenjin name that he got from living in Kalenjin. And of course, my other half has told me and corrected me on social media. Say, Elo is on your Shukrani CD, not Haki. I'm sorry for that. Thank you, Mr. Green, my dear one. Then Ogam has put a smiley face there. My cousin Vida, all the way from, I don't know, Arizona. She's going to get me because I don't know which state yet. And the song is, she said, great song, Asante. And Pastor Castian said, you are right. We'll be there not only in the next 50 years, but eternally. For there is life even after our earthly life. Amen. I like that. That will be the end of our show. You have been amazing. Thank you for your messages. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for listening. I know it's late somewhere in the world, but if you've stayed up to listen to us, I say asante sana. Thank you very much. I am truly, truly blessed to have friends, family, and people like you keep on pushing me up because you know it's not easy. Thank you for listening to us today. We had a wonderful show. I encourage you to send me your proverbs. We can share them live. Thank you for listening to us wherever you are. We come to you live from the USA and going global all over the world. And this is Mama Africa Show. Yes, a.k.a. Anna Mwalago, a.k.a. Mama Africa. Love yourself. Love each other. Till next time. I'm out.